Hey guys, welcome. Welcome to a live deprogram with Keri Smith. I'm your host, Keri. I'm just laughing at some of the stuff I see in the chat, and you guys are so funny. Let me just tell you something. This is a welcome to a post-surgery stream. If you're here for a serious topic, it's not going to happen. Not today. Today's my last day on pain medication for the surgery I had on Wednesday, and I just am not. I don't have the concentration for it, and even though I'm on the pain meds, it still doesn't feel all that hot. So I didn't want to skip another stream since I skipped the one on Friday. And so I said, you know what? Let's just do a fun intermittent frivolity. I haven't done that in a long time. And before I started, I was all dressed up. And, if you change your outside, sometimes it helps your insides. Like if you put on a nice dress, if you're depressed, there are studies that say you should go take a shower. You should put on a nice outfit. Of course, it affects your mood. Neuroscience says it affects your mood. So I got all dressed up, and then I saw Real Raven in the chat said, if she's not wearing that hat, ow, I can't laugh. If she's not wearing that hat in the thumbnail, I'm going to be upset. So I just went and put on the corn outfit again. It's more fun anyway. It's more relaxed. It's the theme of the show, intermittent frivolity. So why not? So hey, good to see you guys. Yes, I'm a corn star. Thanks, Davina. So a couple of rules. You cannot make me laugh today because laughing will hurt my stitches. And that's really hard. I've found the past few days not to laugh. Also, coughing is bad. And getting angry, I guess, if you were to yell or something like that, sneezing, anything like that. And so I'm going to laugh inside. I'm going to put on my inside voice when I laugh. Anyway, yeah, we're just having a fun one. I didn't have to skip another one. Hey, Squat and P, good to see you guys. Frivolity is frivolity. It is. Your average patriot nerd is here. Hey, what's up, man? Thank you. Gifted 5 memberships. So some of you, I wrote a Substack about why I was away, about the surgery. It's if you want to read it, you can go to kerismith.substack.com. And it was I wasn't trying to be all secretive about it. I don't know. It's a personal thing. And you're like, how much do you share? How much do you not? There might be people dealing with this kind of surgery though. So I'll just say, if you are thinking of it, here's the one I had. If you're a woman and you're considering it, I had a myomectomy. It is where they remove fibroids from your uterus. And there are different ways they can do the surgery. They can do it like the laser version with a camera or something. That's not what happened with me. They did a full-on like open surgery where they cut you like where a C-section would be. Because of the number of fibroids. If you're a man and you don't know about these topics, uterine fibroids is something that affects women. Most women between the ages of 30 and 50 will deal with at least a fibroid or two. They're usually non-cancerous, and it's a non-cancerous like tumor, the musculature in the uterus. And some women, like in my case, will develop a lot of them, and there are certain risk factors that make you more likely to get them. Black women, which I identify as Black, so that makes sense. Try not to laugh. But Black women do have a higher incidence of uterine fibroids and diabetes. I'm not diabetic either, so if you have a history of it, I guess. So I had a lot of them, and they were very large, and so they said, okay, we're going to take these out, and they can cause very painful symptoms the longer that you have them. And it had gotten to a point where it was really hard to deal with them. Like just if you're a woman who has dealt with them, you'll know what I mean. Just like the worst. So, Pirate Tomsky, I identify as having fibroids. Ow. No. Cynthia Carter, girl issues are just generally not something we bother talking about openly. Let's face it, we learn when it all starts that it's unavoidable and not worth whining about, except among close friends. That's true. Do you guys ever watch that comedy show, Kill Tony? My husband Anthony Garcia's in the chat. What's up? So he watches that show. So I end up watching a lot of it. It's a comedy show that tapes in Austin. And the host is Tony Hinchcliffe. I think that's his name. And he has a little segment he does. I don't know if he always does it. I've seen him do it a few times now, where he asks the comedian or the person who's trying to do comedy, he says, "What's the blackest thing about you?" And I was thinking, oh, now I have an answer to that question. If I ever do the show, I'm going to say I have uterine fibroids. Except only the black women will laugh because they're the only ones that know that stat. And in his audience, that means like maybe one person. One laugh. One laugh for that joke. Anyway, Kevin laughed. There you go. So that's what it was. A couple of things about the process, though, that were annoying, and I do not recommend. We ended up choosing to go out of network. We have Obamacare. I don't know what your experience is with Obamacare if you have it, but it kind of sucks because, you know, you're forced to get it, or you're hit with the tax, the penalty at the end of the year. And so we had we have Obamacare, and the hospital, like the network that would have taken my insurance, has such long wait times that it would have been a year and a half at least to get the surgery. And so we just decided, you know what, we're going to go to this other surgeon outside of the network who can see us right away. And then we don't have to wait a year and a half. We're just going to pay out of pocket. So that was kind of annoying that it seems like you're forced to pay for this thing. And then like, are the wait times so long that you can't even make use of it? That sucks. Corey Hemlock says in Canada we have MAID. Oh, I've heard it's terrible. If you want to look at a dystopian future, like where things could lead, I always look at Canada. And no offense, Coral, but I always look to see what you guys are doing. Randy Wallen for $9.99. Thank you, Randy. Says, your life, your decision to share or not. God's got you in your recovery. Much love to you, NA. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. Well, that's what it was. That's about as much as I'll share about it, I guess. The annoying health insurance issue. My husband was wonderful. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have him. I don't know what people do. There was so much he's had to help me with, and from the day of until today, you know, even just helping me get up and down from a seated position, or from a lying down position, or going to the bathroom. Just like, what do you do if you don't have someone to help you? I guess you'd have to call a friend. So my husband is amazing, and he's been amazing during the whole thing. So let's see. Your average Patriot Nerd, 5 deprogram memberships. I think I got that already. Thank you so much. Adam Worrell, did anyone ask Elliot Page about his post-surgery hang too soon? Stop. Ow. Again, no laughing. Cynthia Carter, a good man is worth his weight in gold. Yeah, Anthony. He is. You know, since today's a day of frivolity and I'm just going to hang out and have fun for a little bit, we can talk about whatever we want. And normally that means if I were unrestrained, I would just brag about my dog and my husband all the time. People would get annoyed. That's all I would do. But he's great. And he's been cooking me all kinds of soups. I guess I could make this announcement. Here's the next thing that we are doing that's serious. Thursday, we are doing a book club. I moved it because there's no way. I thought this thing on Wednesday, the surgery was going to be quick, like in and out, the way that I was told. Anyway, it wasn't like that. So I had to move the book club. So we're doing it this Thursday, Return of the Strong Gods by R.R. Reno. It's not a long book. You have time to read it. This book is so interesting. The subtitle is Nationalism, Populism, and the Future of the West. And here's what I find fascinating about it. A lot of the guys that are being called woke right, some of whom I call some of them woke right, they like to reference some of the terms and some of the phrases in this book. But I would argue, and I have heard the author argue in an interview, that they get some of it wrong, that they are misusing his words, that they're not entirely grasping the concept. So I'm very curious to see what other people think about it. because I agree with a lot of this book, maybe all of this book. We shall see. But if you were to join us, we're going to be talking about it Thursday, 6 o'clock Central. And you can email me at deprogrammedpod@gmail.com. It's free to participate. It's a private video book club, so you can feel comfortable being on camera without it, being blasted out to the internets. And we have a good group of people who've already RSVP'd to be there. And so we'll have a good conversation about it. If you want to be a part of that, for any deprogrammed person, just hit me up at deprogrammedpod@gmail.com. What's the book about, says Ron Copperman. Well, the subtitle tells you a lot. Nationalism, Populism, and the Future of the West. It's basically about it's putting forward the hypothesis that after World War II, the world sort of turned towards openness and globalism. And that we turned too far towards those things to the point that we are destroying our countries and our culture and destroying people, and that, we need to move, that this is why nationalism and populism are on the rise again, because we overcorrected and now we're correcting again. I would definitely give it a read. My pastor recommended it, and then I watched an interview with the author on Lucas Kursow's channel, which was a great talk with the author. G-Man for $5. Hey, G-Man. Hey, he says, "Hey, Keri, I love your cornrows today." Thank you, sir. Thank you. I love all the puns about corn. I had a friend come hang out, and we just had corn outfits, and we went to a festival, and my dog has a little corn outfit. Corey says, "I wish I could join, but I haven't had time to read the book. I'll be at my sister's place that day." Well, you should definitely read the book either way. Even if you can't join, I think it's a great book. Keri says, "Lily of the Fox Valley, have you watched Disaffected from yesterday yet? Josh had a guest on that I think you'd be interested in." No, I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to check it out. I love that show. And he doesn't always have guests, so that's really interesting. Let's see if there's any other questions. You guys are funny. I'm just laughing at the jokes. Pirate Tomsky, "I'm just glad we aren't getting a show and tell picture show." Well, I will say this. I'm not going to show you the picture, but the surgeon was seemed excited because it had set a record for him in some ways because of the number of fibroids and how much it was like a pound. It was very gross. And he had a photo anyway, it's just a ghastly photo. I'm not going to show it. Nobody else needs to see it. It was so gross. And when I go back for my post-op, he's like, "I'm going to get you a glossy copy." Ow. A glossy copy of that picture. Why? What would you do with it? Frame it? It's so... Don't say this, Cheeky Mare. Give it up for Cheeky Mare, one of the mods. She said there's probably an OF channel for it. It's so gross. If you could, Anthony and I were joking about this. There's a rule, I forget what it's called, but there's a rule that says if you can think of it, no matter how disgusting and disturbing, there's probably some kind of porn about it. We are framing it. No, never. Yeah, that's gross. Is it called Rule 34? Hey, Power Keg Greg. I don't know what it's called, but I've heard that before, and there probably is some gross kind of OnlyFans about it. People get into this. Is the other reason I think God is important, because unrestrained human beings will get into really disgusting and gross and perverse things. Like somebody was talking about earwax channels and whatever. People get into gross stuff. And I think a lot of that has to do with just like searching for identity and meaning, and there being like zero restraints, which in the end turns out that's not really freedom at all, because you're a slave to just you become a slave to just pushing the boundaries further and getting crazier and more disgusting. You become a slave to that where you just keep going. I have learned that there's a kind of freedom with boundaries and guidelines, that it actually gives you the freedom to be so much more creative and to cultivate and to grow and to do beautiful things, and to, because you've got these guidelines and you don't waste your time going off into the oblivion, being a slave to the oblivion, right? We are rather depraved without God, John says. I think so too, John. Now, I know there's some atheists here who would disagree, but I think human nature is that without God, we can get pretty depraved. Randy Wallen for doubling, and hey, Randy, thank you for the super chat for supporting the show. He says, I'm with my mom. She says hi and nice hat. Thank you so much. It's a fun hat. Oh, now everybody's talking about all the gross stuff on YouTube. I apologize. We can move on. Here, let's talk about something, a bit of intermittent frivolity that's positive and fun. Since I haven't just talked, shot the shit in a while. Pardon my language. The best show on television right now, and you may remember a couple years ago I mentioned it. It's back. It's Love on the Spectrum. It's on Netflix. I think it's like season 3. This show is amazing. This is probably the best season they've ever had. If it's the most just wholesome, positive, beautiful show, and it's about autistic people going on dates, like trying to find true love. Unlike a lot of reality shows that are completely fake and scripted, this one seems to be very real. It's a documentary. It's a docu-series, and some of the young adults that they are following, they've been following for 3 seasons because they haven't found love yet. So they're, here they are for the 3rd season. And then every season they also have new people, and they have people who did match up in previous seasons who are still together, and you get to see how they're thriving. And it is just so lovely. I can't recommend it enough. It's funny. It's touching. It's just positive and wholesome. It made me cry. It will make you cry. It will make you laugh. And everyone on that show, I just love them. They're so positive. When I talked about it previously, like the 2nd season, maybe, I was sort of saying it's really interesting because I know that autism expresses itself differently in different people. And you can see that even in the show, of course. That's why they call it a spectrum, right? But in general, it seems that autistic people, and I've read studies about this, have a harder time recognizing deception when someone is lying to them. And they also they don't engage in deception, as they say what they're thinking. They're pretty honest to a fault. I'm not saying they can't or won't lie. I'm just saying it doesn't come as naturally. And so the degree of sincerity is just beautiful and touching. So yeah. So there you go. Go watch the show, Love on the Spectrum. No filter, says Dion. Exactly. It's great. Pirate Tomsky. Give it up for Pirate, our British mod. He says, I seem to remember the chat having a massive argument about that show a while back. Did people argue about it? No, it's not exploitative. I wouldn't call it that way at all. It's very caring for the couples, and there's so many wins this season. There's so many wins. So you have to go see it. Therese sees it. I love that show. Yeah, give it up for Therese, one of our mods. And Cheeky Mare. I'm finishing a quilt. I've been working for 60 hours. Glad I can make a live with Keri. She always makes me smile. Good. You make me smile, girl. If for those of you who don't know, Cheeky Mare made me a quilt. I put photos of it out there. She made me a beautiful quilt. And also she did this Not Today Joy Eater cross stitch back there. Very crafty lady in the chat. 60 hours, huh? No filter, just like my grandfather's Siggy's back in the day. It's funny. Pirate says, I think some people thought it was staged and others didn't. Well, I don't think it's staged at all. And I say this as someone who worked in entertainment and worked on a reality show and pitched others and was around the whole fake reality show crap. I don't think this one is staged at all. Arnawa, do you mean not all of them go to speed dating and game up the system? No, there is one guy they follow who tends to go to speed dating, and I don't know why none of the other guys this season do. And speed dating is not where he ends up meeting someone. I spoiled. I spoiled. Sorry for the spoilers. Okay, I'm just looking to see. It's a film represent. If you guys have any questions, anything you want to talk about, let me know. I have a friend coming over. I know I have all this stuff scheduled that even though I had surgery, it was like, well, I guess we'll see which of these things we can still do. And a lot of friends, when they visit from out of town, I'm like, yes, I want to see, people while they're in Texas. So that's going to be fun. So we'll just hang out until then. Therese says, Keri, there's an Australian version too. You just made my day. Because I was so sad when it ended. I want to talk about this series so bad, but I don't want to spoil it for people. Maybe we should set a date where it's like you have to have watched Level in the Spectrum by this date, and then we'll talk about it. There's not a lot of wholesome TV anymore. That's why I get so excited. It's very wholesome. It's very positive. Pirate Tomsky. Keri, speaking of TV shows, I'm rewatching Justified. I forgot how good it was. I loved that show. It's been so many years since I've seen it, but anything Western, a Western feel to it, Kevin Anderson. I went to speed dating a couple of times, struck out completely. You know what, Kevin? At least as speed dating is portrayed in this show, it doesn't seem like anybody ever doesn't strike out. It seems like it seems like the format is such that it's very hard to make a connection. Cheeky Mare. I've been using this app called Time Left. Terrible name. That's the name of the dating app? Time Left. That is a terrible name. That's awful. Like, this is how much time I have left? That's awful. Ow. They set you up on a group date with 5 other people. I met my fella there and making friends with it too. Oh, well, good. It worked for you. You met your fella and made friends, but the name is terrible. Okay, so everybody take note. Cheeky Mare says it's a terrible name, but she met her fella there, and she met other people there who she's become friends with. So check it out. Maybe Time Left. That's great news. Okay. Other than that, other than positive things, like I said, I don't want to talk about anything serious today, but I have been watching all the online with just the Iran stuff and the meltdown, the absolute meltdown that some people are having. There's a lot of people who seem very angry and upset and hysterical that World War III hasn't started yet, that they've been predicting World War III. And look, if this is a surgical strike, like an in and out, like Trump said it was, great. I don't want to be in a protracted war either. But if it was an in and out just to take out any type of nuclear program in the works, one and done, great. I would be happy with that. But there's a certain type of person who doesn't seem happy with that. They seem upset. This is like they want war. You know, those kind of people. They're like, this is what we've been predicting. We want it. Sort of like Y2Kers who got like super invested in Y2K and they said it was going to happen and they were prepping. And then a lot of them, when it didn't happen, were just like angry and depressed and raging because they had put everything into it. Right. So seems like a lot of that's happening. Yeah, I don't want a forever war. Kevin, have you noticed that too? Says Kevin. I have. They're like upset. They're really angry. Some of them claim to be on the right, but they're really mad at Trump. I'm not saying they're all lying. It's just that some of them sound a lot like AOC right now. Some people need to be depressed and angsty. Yes. Cynthia Carter says, my man and I found each other with eHarmony back in the day. Turned out we went to the same church, but sat in different areas. What are the chances? I had been on for years, but God got him to sign up and I was his second match. How amazing. That must have been a really large church if you didn't know each other. That must have been a large church, right? Like the kind where you don't know everybody. And it turns out you had to go on eHarmony to meet him, even though you went to the same church. What a great story. It's like a few extra steps there. I have a lot of friends who do the internet dating, Cynthia, who hate it. Kevin says, a friend of mine also met her hubby on eHarmony. I know some who swear by some of these, a couple, but most people I know who are out there online dating right now, they just say it's terrible. It's horrible. I have a friend in Austin. He says everyone has, politics, all the stuff that we hate about the world and ideology and everything. It's like right there in the profiles, But I was sort of saying on the positive side, at least it helps you eliminate those people and weed them out early, right? So you're not wasting your time going on dates with people that only to find later that they're part of some crazy cult-like ideology. Andrew, hey, old chat. What's up? Brahma Bull's here. Hey, Brahma Bull. Pirate Tomsky. I met my missus online. Sorry, I ordered my missus on. Stop it. I told you I can't no laughing today. John Thomas for $5. Thanks, John Thomas. It won't last much longer. Iranian people have started to rebel. Israel blew open one of the big political prisons. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen there. I'm following different people to, I just thought the anger that some people seem to have about it is a little crazy. But in terms of people rebelling, good for them. More power to them if they do. I've seen video of what it was like there before everything changed, before fundamentalism. Brahma, good to see. We're just hanging out today. Not talking about anything serious. We did briefly say there's stuff going on in the world in the news, but I just wanted to say hi and hang out with folks. We talked about Love on the Spectrum. We talked about the book. I can tell you guys something fun about what we're doing, what I would tell friends about what's going on in our life. So we are getting ready to do the front and backyard, which is exciting, in our home renovation project, which is several years in the works, and it's going to be many more years of working on it. And this year, our goal is to do the front and backyard and the kitchen. Now, I know we're halfway through the year, but we had to save money, and then part of that money went to the surgery, so we are again saving money. But the timing for the yards, we are now getting into it. So we already had a friend deliver 7 dump trucks full of dirt and level it all out in the front yard and the backyard, because there were so many trenches and holes, and it just wasn't level. You couldn't even walk back there safely. You might twist an ankle. So now it's all flat, and the next stage is to map it out. And my husband, who's in the chat, is a planner, and he and I think we're like a yin and yang. That helps in a relationship, right? And we help each other. He helps me get more organized, and I help him chill out. I don't know if you would agree with that, but he says, I've been watching garden shows like crazy. Does anyone in the UK know Monty Don? Okay, let him know if you know Monty Don. So we've been watching all these gardening shows. He's been planning. He sketched all these amazing drawings of what the garden's going to be. And it's basically, it's going to be like the secret garden. That's what I'm picturing. I think he's picturing Versailles. The garden's at Versailles. But he went and bought stakes and twine. And so now we're going to take the maps that we've drawn and we're going to map it out in real life. We're going to put stakes in the ground and measure everything out where everything's going. There are going to be paver paths that cut through it. There's going to be a patio, with a fire pit, and there's going to be a privacy fence around the whole thing. But these paver paths are all going to take you to like a center area. There's going to be a fountain. And I've been joking, I want to get a fountain, like a marble fountain, like you might see in Italy or somewhere, but I want it to be Bucky. I want it to be Bucky's spitting water. And Anthony says, look here, he's telling you more about the garden. I'm going for English French style with gravel paths. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And then in the back, the paths lead to this beautiful greenhouse that we want to build. And we're basing it on a greenhouse that we love, that we've seen in Comfort, Texas, that looks almost like a church that's made out of antique windows and doors. So we are going to try to do that. We've been learning all about the foundation we have to do for that. Then there are going to be, in one section of this backyard, they're going to be raised garden beds with different, he's planting, what vegetables and stuff we're doing. And then we are going to build. Now, I know we've already done work on the studio and we got cameras. I've been doing in-person interviews here, which is great. I've got, once I'm fully recovered from the surgery, I've got more in the works. We're going to do more stuff here in person. But down the road, I want a bigger space. And so we are going to build in the backyard a carriage house. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of historic homes have them where they would literally put their horse and carriage. They would put their carriage in there, like a garage, but for a horse and buggy. We're going to build a carriage house. It's going to look like that from the outside, but inside is going to be a studio, a podcast studio. And what else? And then in one corner, we're going to have a prayer garden. And then we're going to have our tool shed, which is kind of already out there. It's a lot. There's a lot that we're doing. So yeah, if there are channels that you watch, if you have expertise, if you like gardening and you geek out about that stuff, drop links in the chat. My husband will go and read the comments later. He's, like he said, we've been watching so many different videos. I've been watching a lot of the Martha Stewart stuff. He's watching channels I haven't even heard of. He says, we are building the greenhouse out of old windows, and we had a local guy come over to meet with us to tell us we're not crazy. That's why we were hiring this guy. He said, you're not crazy. So we'll take it. He said, we're not crazy. He's going to do the foundation and the steel beams in the four corners. Yeah. Mellow Cat. Oh, it would be cool with a couple of stained glass panels. Oh, it would. And let me tell you, girl, here's another project that may or may not coincide with the greenhouse one. We had a friend drop off these old stained glass windows that are all broken. Like the glass isn't broken, but the pieces are no longer, like the window is not whole. It's come apart. They're over 150 years old, from the Georgetown Square, Georgetown, Texas. From a historic building. He's had them forever. I don't know who he got them from. He bought them from someone. He's been intending to do something with them and never has. And so he said, hey, I want to give these to you. So the other thing I've been watching are videos on how to do stained glass, how to repair it, how to create it. And that's very interesting. Now, if you're someone in the chat who knows about stained glass and you want to give recommendations, feel free. But that's another project we're going to be working on. Keri, how long will recovery take? Thank you, John. So they've told me 4 to 6 weeks of bed recovery, like 4 to 6 weeks where I really shouldn't be doing anything like driving or lifting anything, and I had to get a talking to because the first day was so bad. I didn't even tell you guys the whole story. So the surgery took 3 hours. Normally on average, it takes an hour to maybe 2 hours with like 2 hours of observation, but it took them 3 hours because of how intense, how much work they were doing there. Let's put it that way. And then they had me in observation for 8 hours. So we were there 12 hours. We were there all day. And they finally let us go, but they said I was so swollen up and TMI, but that could not do what you need to do to relieve yourself, to relieve the swelling. Like, so all the liquid, your body, apparently this happens in surgery. Maybe you've had surgery before it's happened to you. Your body is in fight or flight mode and it's just like retaining all the liquid. So I blew up like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And I look like a Sunday ham. I mean, I was bloated like this. My fingers, everything was so swollen. I could not close my hand like that because it was all touching. It was too fat. Everything was swollen. But they sent me home anyway, I think to save us money. And they said, hey, if you're still in pain, your bladder's still in pain and nothing's happened by midnight, go to the emergency room. So come midnight, it's excruciating. My husband drives me to the ER and we get there and we're like a hobble in. And then they tell us with our Obamacare, how much we're going to have to pay for the emergency room. And I got so stubborn. I was like, no, we're not. I said, just I'm going to make it happen. Let me go to the bathroom here. It was terrible. Anyway, so, I moved heaven and earth and the swelling, fortunately, we were up all night. Like it was just that first day was so terrible, but then everything broke. Everything started getting better the second day. And so then what happened, and I haven't had surgery before. And so I was feeling like, oh, it's so much better compared to that first day. That was terrible, that I was doing things you shouldn't be doing. And one of those things is I drove to church yesterday and, yeah, one of my friends who's, really kind of gives me motherly advice from time to time. She was like, hey, you should go home afterwards and you should not be driving. It's not good for your body and all the stitches and everything, like for you to be putting that pressure on the brake or I'm like, oh, okay. Got to take this stuff seriously. So I needed someone to tell me that, I needed someone to give me that advice who's been there before and had stuff like this happen before. So yeah, 4 to 6 weeks of bed rest and should not be lifting anything or driving any kind of vehicle or whatever. Good grief. Well, this is a personal question, but I will answer this because this is related. Keri, are you going to lose fertility with this treatment? They effectively sterilized me. No. Honey, I'm so sorry to hear that. I don't know which treatment you had, if it was the same one or not, but no, hopefully not. In fact, the intention is to help fertility also, because sometimes that's a reason for infertility is if your oven, so to speak, is full and the goal is to, empty it. So I don't know if you had the same thing or not or what happened, but I'm really sorry to hear that. And I will be praying for you. She says, oh, that's good. So glad you retained fertility. I know you mentioned wanting kids. I do, yes. If God is willing, we are praying for a miracle. We shall see. Horny Alf, hey, what's up? You were looking corny today. Yes, I know. I love all the puns. I look amazing. Get it? Amazing. Friends are good, yeah. KB, it could be hard after my stomach cancer surgery. I tried to drive and go shop at Best Buy. Very huge mistake. Yes, that's the thing is you don't really know, right? And if you've never had it before, like you said after yours, you tried doing things. I didn't know. I was like, and you kind of, like, I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to just lay around all day. But that's literally what the doctor's telling you to do is not move. And you're like, but I have to do something. So yeah, I'm not gonna be driving anymore. But on the way home from church, I did stop at the grocery store, and I used one of those electric carts that people use. That I've never used one before. It was fabulous. Maybe I'll use it all the time. That was fun. Amazing. Yes, I look amazing. Look, I came up with a whole comedy routine based on corn, cheeky mare. Ladies and gentlemen, lend me your ears. We have an amazing show for you tonight. And there's a kernel of truth to it. It's going to be a cropular night of laughter. Anyway. Ah, shucks, right? Randy Wallen for $9.99. Thank you, Randy. He says, I met with an Iranian friend this morning. She has friends and family in Iran and many contacts there. She says the population is happy and sees this as a chance to get rid of the existing government. That's so interesting. Thanks for sharing that. I have a friend who feels the same way. And I've interviewed in the past a doctor who escaped from, her family escaped from Iran, you know, when they were persecuting Christians and Jews. And there are a lot of people who've left there who see this as a good thing. Ferdinand, glad I caught the live. Good to see you recovering. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. We are just hanging out and having fun. So good to see you. Popping off. Robert, there's another corn pun. There you go. You are doing something. You are healing. That's true. Thank you, Pirate. That's true. I'm having to retrain the way I think to be like, okay, no, I am healing. I can just lay here, doctor's orders. No laughing fun. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna take up too much of your guys' time. I just wanted to say hello and tell you that I'm fine, and we will be back on Thursday with Book Club, Return of the Strong Gods. It will be a serious show, and I will be even better by Thursday. As I said, today's the last day of these pain meds, so I should be more with it by Thursday. Go get this book if you haven't already. It's a great book, even if you can't make it to book club. But if you can make it, send us an email, deprogrammedpod@gmail.com. Would love to have you. Hello, goodbye. Get in bed and watch The Chosen. New season's on Prime. Therese, I'm going to watch. It's on the list. It's on the list for you. As soon as Anthony and I get aligned on when we start that one, I will let you know. Andy Masterson's here. Very talented toy maker in the chat. Good to see you. God bless you. Okay. I'm logging off. I'm going to lay down. I have a friend coming. We're just going to relax and hang out and do nothing together, which will be fun. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. And if you haven't already and you're on Substack, you can find, I'm writing more there than I used to. I have this piece I'm working on about Manning, Iowa, which is the best small town in America. I'll just come out and say it. It's the best small town in America. It's corn. It's corn country, first of all. And you can find it at kerismith.substack.com. If you want to subscribe, you can do a free subscription or a paid subscription, whatever you like. And I will see you guys on Thursday. Okay. Take care. Bye.